Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Big Mike Talks. And this week we are taking on most of the world of professional wrestling. I will not be covering SmackDown or Rampage this week because I have a previous engagement, which, should be fun. So, grab yourself a snack, something to drink, and let's do this. And we start off the week with the Raw after WrestleMania. We start off with a Triple H promo, pretty much saying, without the crew, without the wrestlers, there would be no WrestleMania, there would not be a WWE, and we're not going anywhere? Yeah, I'm not sure what this promo was, but it is what it was. Then he brings out Roman Reigns. It looks like he's going to start a promo. Out comes Cody Rhodes, challenges him to a WrestleMania rematch on the night. Roman pretty much says no. Then Cody issues a counter challenge for a tag team match between himself and a partner versus Roman and Solo. That is accepted. However, there is a stipulation on it. The wrestler chosen has to be a wrestler who competed at WrestleMania, and whoever does get chosen cannot challenge for the WWE Undisputed title ever again. And that brings out Brock Lesnar. And it looks like those two are going to be buddy-buddy, and they're going to have a tag team match, playa. Or so we think. First matchup, we have Omos versus Elias. That is a big old bag of nothing to rebuild Omos to his previous loss to Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Pretty much. We then see the Usos backstage. They go to Roman Reigns' backstage locker room area. Pretty much asks if they knock at the door. Heyman answers, pretty much saying, Roman's stepped out with Solo to talk strategy for the tag team match tonight. And he's giving you two the night off. So the Jets already, it's fully stocked with food. And yeah, you don't have to be here. Honestly, this ultimately feels like, when your parent goes into a shop or whatever and pretty much tells you as a kid to stay in the car. That's what this felt like. It's not really progressing the story, and plus, they came up to the door smiling and happy, even though they lost their tag team titles. I don't know, it's annoying. We then get a Bad Bunny interview, who is ringside, getting ready for this next bout. Pretty much says, it's been an emotional week. He's ready to host Backlash, which should be a fun one. Then out comes Rey Mysterio for a promo. He's very emotional. He's thanks everyone for the, big week this past weekend. Induction into the Hall of Fame, beating up Dominic. And then out comes Austin Theory, which is a very interesting choice. He pretty much said, he deserves respect after beating John Cena, and that he's going to beat respect into Rey Mysterio here right now. Match goes on. It wasn't terrible, but it was what it was. A lot of decent back and forth at start. And comes potentially with a 619. Dominic interferes, and the match is called... No, and then Fury hits an 8-count down for the win. Dominic Mysterio and Damian Priest continue the beatdown on Rey. Dom then tosses Rey to ringside, gets face to face with Bad Bunny, and they go at it a little bit. Then Damian Priest brings Bad Bunny over to the announce table, and it's a choke slam through the announce table, which I will give Bad Bunny all the credit in the world. He is taking bumps like these like a champ, and it shouldn't be this easy for him. So, I'm definitely going to give him some props for that. We then see Damian Priest being chewed out by Adam Pearce backstage, basically saying, "How could you put your hands on this guy?" Yada yada yada. And basically, Priest says, Bad Bunny is my friend. Could you imagine what I'd do to him if he were my enemy? Which, it looks like they're setting up for a tag team match. We're going to have Priest and Dom versus Bad Bunny and Rey at Backlash, which honestly sounds like fun. I'm not going to lie. Then we have Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn out, cutting in-ring promo. Basically said, crowd chants, "You deserve it." Clap, 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 clap. Basically say, yeah, we deserve it, but you also deserve it. Sami Zayn gets on the mic. "It's been a crazy year for me. I've been in the bloodline, out of the bloodline. I now have the tag team titles with my best friend. And now we'd like to celebrate. And what better way to celebrate than holding an open challenge?" Which is answered by the Street Profits, which honestly I'd say makes sense. Both won their WrestleMania matches, so a match between the two is definitely going to be fun. And it absolutely was. A lot of good back and forth. The chemistry worked. Although two baby faces teams working together, it's a little odd, but I'll take it. We had a Doomsday Blockbuster by the Street Profits near the end, but that is a 2, which sets up for a big old cannonball by KO, a Swanton Bomb, Stunner, Haluva Kick. Your winners, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. I would have hoped that Owens and Zayn would have gotten a little bit more, I don't know, something. I think that's the issue with WWE right now. There aren't really that many big tag team heels. Like, would I like to have seen a Bloodline rematch? Maybe. And that's also another point. These two and Cody's, big goal, ending the Bloodline. They kind of failed. Like, Owens and Zayn have the tag titles, but Cody at WrestleMania ultimately failed. So, where do you go from here with the Owens and Zayn? It's going to be an interesting one. This is a very head-scratching moment. You have Seth Rollins backstage pretty much saying he's feeling good after beating Logan Paul. Hit the stomp heard around the world. Party isn't in here backstage. It's out with the people. So then we see him, at least his music starts up. He's going to go to the outside in front of the fans. Cut to a commercial. Back from commercial. Fans are singing his theme song. He's drinking it in, which is good. And then he leaves. Like, no setup for another feud. No rah-rah babyface promo. He's just there, and then he leaves. Set something up. Set something up for this guy. He is too good to just be doing something like this. We have Bobby Lashley promo, which gets interrupted by Bronson Reed, saying, "Oh, I'd like to be your pupil," but eventually the pupil becomes the master. He is not ready for a match yet, so that'll be postponed to another day. Then Mustafa Ali comes in the weirdest thing ever. I guess he's taken over the New Day Power of Positivity thing, which is very weird. Pretty much Lashley telling Lashley, with this door closed, you can now go out and challenge someone else. And then Lashley turns around like you? Lashley then chases Ali to the ring. They get in the ring, bell rings. Ali at first avoids Lashley, eventually getting hit with a clothesline, a hurt lock, and winners up by submission, Bobby Lashley. And oh boy, I am sick of these nothing matches. Like, I give me something on this. Like, I don't know. There's something that just doesn't sit right here. And there was talks of Ali getting a push post WrestleMania. He's just a jobber now, which is a shame because Ali is really good. We then get a Roman Solo backstage vignette. Roman asks Paul Heyman if he's dealt with the Usos. Heyman says yes. Then he asked Heyman if he knew Brock Lesnar was going to be doing this. Heyman says, "No, I am not in control of him anymore. I am with you now." Then Heyman pretty much says, "Oh, Brock Lesnar's got nothing to lose, so that's why he took this match." Apparently, their last match at SummerSlam, if Lesnar lost, he doesn't get another title shot as long as Roman's champ. Like, I watched that back. I don't remember them announcing that stipulation, which is very, very strange. Like, I don't know if this was a real stipulation that was honored, or like, I don't know, something doesn't feel right here. We then get a Bianca Belair promo saying she's still the champion. I'm ready for all comers. Out comes Rhea Ripley, the SmackDown Women's Champion, with Rhea saying, "Oh, we have some unfinished business from NXT, and if Bianca is really all about getting in the ring with the best, you're looking at her." So we'll see when we see that match. That should be interesting. Will it be a unification match? Who knows? We then get one of the weirdest matches of the night, as Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez take on Damage Control, Io Sky and Dakota Kai, with no Bayley in sight, which, I mean, that's very interesting. And this is for a future shot at the women's tag team titles. This match was definitely really good. A little bit shorter than I was hoping it was for. A lot of counters to Raquel's powerbomb. But then eventually Raquel hits the Terracotta Bomb. Liv with the Oblivion. Raquel and Liv get the win. And they are going on next week to face Becky Lynch and Lita for the tag titles. We then get a Miz promo basically asking, "Oh, did you enjoy WrestleMania? There were a ton of surprises. Pat McAfee and Shane McMahon," which, yeah. Miz is then ready for a new season, done with surprises. Bro. Matt Riddle makes his return. Miz then at first jumps Riddle, gets the upper hand, and then Riddle hits Miz with the bro down, and that is it. So it looks like we're getting a Miz-Matt Riddle rivalry, in which, okay. I would like to see Riddle a bit more towards the top of the card, but whatever. Then we got a backstage promo with Trish, Lita, and Becky. And Becky looks annoyed. Like, look back at that promo. Becky Lynch looks very, very annoyed. Basically said, this is a big win for us on WrestleMania. But now we are going to be ready to raise the prestige of the women's tag team titles by first beating Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez next week. So, got that to look forward to. And then fine Alamo, our main event of the evening, as Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar takes on Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. However, before the bell can ring, Brock Lesnar grabs Cody Rhodes, F5, major suplexes, and just beats the ever-loving tar out of him. So the match never happens, and now in the future we are getting Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes, which should be fun. Should be a good match. A match we haven't seen yet. But I would have liked to seen a little bit of the match. A little bit. I'm not saying like 10 minutes. Give me like 30 seconds at least before Brock does this. Also, this is, of course, annoying because, A, now we got Cody versus Brock in the big-time feud. We don't need Roman. Roman can go off. And it's annoying. Like, Cody should have won at WrestleMania. That's the annoying part. And now I fear we're going to get Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns again at whatever big pay-per-view is next. And I am not excited for that. So, that is Monday Night Raw. Next up, we got NWA Power, which starts off with Pretty Empowered, who are set to take on the new Women's Tag Team Champions, taking on Kylan King and Samantha Starr, who work really well as powerhouses. Pretty Empowered doing their best to avoid at first, but then they lock it in, and they, this was actually a pretty fun opener. A little quicker than I thought it would be, but it did its job, and then after a roll-up by Envy, the winners, Pretty Empowered. Honestly, this was a fun bout. I do hope the women get a bit more of a showcase, especially Kylan King, who is actually an Impact Knockouts Tag Team Champion. So that's going to be interesting to see where this goes. Next up, we have Homicide taking on Salazar de la Muerte in his NWA debut. And honestly, this was another fun bout. Like, Homicide using a bit more of his speed and his street smarts. Salazar de la Muerte is a bit of a powerhouse. Not total powerhouse, but it works. This match really worked. And then after a cutter from off the top rope, your winner, Homicide. I am very excited to see what Salazar de la Muerte does in the future, because I think he's got it. Next up, in a double promo, backstage promo, we have the women's champion, Camille, and the junior heavyweight champion, Kerry Morton, pretty much saying, they're ready for NWA 312. And ready for their titles. We then get a Rolando Freeman promo in which, he's going to be in the main event later on. And this is his 4th time in the main event slot on Power, which, I'm going to say, that's very impressive. And he is ready for Aaron Stevens in our main event tonight, especially after he backstabbed Freeman for goading him into cashing in his title opportunity on Tyrus. And then we go into this match, a street fight between Aaron Stevens and Rolando Freeman. Stevens gets advantage early. Looks like he's going to go right for the loaded glove shot. Decides not to. Instead, he gets some other plunder. Kendo sticks, trash can lids, cookie sheets. And, it's just a barrel of fun, this match. They used absolutely everything in this match. Kendo sticks, chairs. They even go backstage in catering for a little bit and use an exercise machine in which we see Freeman chop Stevens. He would go over, come back, chop. It's a great spot, and I had a lot of fun with this match. It looks like Freeman is, once they get back into the arena and the ring, it looks like Stevens is gonna, Freeman is gonna get the big win. Stevens then hits a low blow, hits Freeman with a big old cookie sheet, and then we get the loaded glove. 1, 2, 3, your winner, Aaron Stevens. Honestly, that was the most fun street fight I've seen in a little bit, although Microman versus Real One was a lot of fun last week on Underground. So that's going to be an interesting one. So Power was a lot of fun. We'll see what happens on NWA 312, which I'll be watching tomorrow, and then I'll review it on Monday. So be prepared for that one. Next up, we have MLW Underground, and we start off with a Real One promo, and he pretty much calls out Microman and his other opponents for the dumpster match upcoming. Pretty much saying, you got your cheap shots in, now I'm just going to dominate. Then out comes Mance Warner with a chainsaw, and then Matthew Justice with a steel chair. Enzo escapes up the ramp. He looks like he's going to be grabbing a weapon from a trash can. He pulls it up. Microman pops out, which that was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. And then all three run him off the stage with their various weapons. And then Mance Warner brings out a case of beer, and they all chug it. I love Mance Warner. He's one heck of a character. And yeah, I'm glad the second Gear Crew is in MLW. That's a great spot for him. Next up, we have a hardcore match playa as the one called Manders, another second Gear Crew member, takes on Ricky Shane Page of what's their team name? Shoot, I forget. This match was absolutely brutal. They used every weapon under the sun, including a steel spike. That's gotta hurt. They then bring out the bag o' tacks, which I will never not cringe at that spot. And then a little body slam into it, including a senton, which I'm sorry, that's gotta hurt either way. A scoop slam into a board in the corner, 2 count. And then Manders gets a rope with a cowbell on it, boom, right to the head of Ricky Shane Page. And then a counter into it from a choke slam, chair shot, senton. Then we get Ricky Shane Page up top. Manders is under the table that's set up, and Ricky Shane Page hits a senton through the table onto Manders, which I don't care who you are, that's gotta hurt. For the win, it's for Ricky Shane Page to get the victory. That was definitely a lot of fun. I was hoping they'd get a little bit more time, but it is what it is. Next up, we got the Dragon Gate Open the Twin Gate title match as Dragon Gate having some more influence over here in the States, as we got the full-blooded Italians, that being Little Guido and Ray Jazz, I believe the guy's name is, take on Natural Vibes, the Open the Twin Gate champions. And honestly, this match was a lot of fun to watch. Like, good tag team chemistry, a lot of good high spots from one of the from Kizzy, I believe the man's name is. I'm sorry, I'm terrible with names. And then to finish it off, a choke slam into a frog splash for the retention. And honestly, that was a lot of fun to watch. Hopefully Natural Vibes stick around for a little bit. We then get a calling vignette. That's Raven's group with Ricky Shane Page and Akira. Basically saying, what are highs for me are lows for everyone else. You need to test your mind. And the Second Gear crew isn't ready for War Chamber, where we'll bring the fight. We then get a backstage vignette of the 2 remaining members of Bumaye Fight Club, that being Mr. Thomas and Alex Kane, picking their numbers for Battle Riot, which is upcoming, which I'm very excited for. They do not reveal the numbers, but they do walk off their separate ways, which, that's interesting. And final for MLW Underground, our main event for the MLW Middleweight Championship. It's Delirious taking on Lince Dorado. Now, before Dorado's entrance, Lio Rush comes out, basically saying, I'm the greatest middleweight of all time. I held this title for so long, and I am going to join the announce table. Then Dorado comes out, and honestly, this match was pretty much all high spots, and it was a little tough to keep track of, but ultimately it was a lot of fun. And the winner, after a powerbomb and a shooting star press, retaining his title, Lince Dorado. Now Lio Rush has the title at the announce table. So he's bringing it in. It looks like he's going to play nice. Gives him the title. They shake hands. And then Rush attacks him from behind. Hits a springboard cutter. Picks up the title. And takes it out of the ring with him. So it looks like we're getting Lio Rush versus Lince Dorado for the middleweight title. And I am all for it. Now, next up, we've got AEW Dynamite, which honestly it was a lot of fun. It was at the UBS Arena, and I was there, and I had a great time. And we start off with the entrances for Juice Robinson and Absolute Ricky Starks. But before Ricky Starks could get to the ring, Bullet Club for life. Shing! Out comes Switchblade Jay White, and he and Juice Robinson beat up Ricky Starks, leave him laying. Honestly, I did not see this coming. Everyone and their mother thought Jay White was going to the WWE. He is now All Elite. Let's go, baby. I was so hyped for that. This is going to be an interesting feud. We then have a backstage interview with Chris Jericho, asking why he helped Daniel Garcia out after the Adam Cole match. Jericho pretty much said to Adam Cole, you punked out Garcia, you had, all the pomp and circumstances, Britt Baker came out and kissed you, whatever, and Jericho felt he had to put a stop to it. Then in comes Keith Lee to interrupt to set up a match between the two for next week, in which, yes, I am here for it. Next up, we got the AEW Trios titles on the line as the House of Black, that being Brody King, Buddy Matthews, and Malachi Black, take on Best Friends, that's Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta, and Orange Cassidy. And we get the long-awaited return of Trent's mom, who drive Cassidy, Trent, and Chuck Taylor at least to backstage, which that will always get a pop from me, especially considering Trent's mom got Trent to his return at the last time they were at UBS. So that's a fun little nod. Definitely some really good back and forth between all these three, including a brief time in the ring together between Brody King and Orange Cassidy. Please, I want more of that. Definitely some more good back and forth, including a missed spin kick and orange punch. Cassidy hits a stun dog millionaire on Malachi Black. Cassidy then hits an orange punch on Brody King. Then, at one point near the end, Trent pile drives Malachi Black. Buddy Matthews gets King up, couldn't do it. Then Cassidy with another orange punch, pile driver. But then that's only a 2 count. And then Buddy Matthews with the biggest curb stomp I've ever seen. And the victory for the House of Black. Still your champions. That was a fun bout. A lot of different styles meshing really well. And like I said, I want to see more Orange Cassidy versus Brody King. Make it happen. We then see Christian Cage backstage making his day return after the casket match with Jungle Boy. Looks like he's right in front of a room with a red light. Then looks, turns at the camera. Out from the smoke and the room, Luchasaurus. Luchasaurus is now back. And, we'll see who they target. I'm kind of hoping it's Orange Cassidy. Next up, we got another title match. This time for the AEW World Women's Championship. as Jamie Hayter takes on Riho. And to say Jamie Hayter got pretty much the loudest pop of the night is an understatement. That was a big, grand reaction for Hayter. A lot of good chemistry in this match. They have previously fought before, which is great. Hayter brought the power. Riho brought the speed. At many times, I did think Riho was going to get the win, but ultimately, Hayter hit the Haterade, finally, pinned Riho. Riho kicks out, hits her with it again, and your winner, still women's champion, Jamie Hayter. We then cut to a backstage interview with the Outcasts. They congratulate Hayter on a successful title defense, but tell her to not get too comfortable because one of the Outcasts will beat her. So, that'll be a fun bout. Next up, we have the Jericho Appreciation Society out on the entrance ramp, pretty much welcoming the Acclaimed out to the ring and hoping they will join the JAS. They come out, pretty much doing their rap. That gets interrupted by the JAS. And it's pretty much a no from the Acclaimed. And Angelo Parker pretty much says, "Oh, it sounds like you're ready for a fight. How about on Rampage, we give it to you?" And honestly, that match sounds like a lot of fun. We then get one of the weirdest segments I have ever seen live as we celebrate MJF Day. MJF has his big band come out, play him to the ring. He then sings Pennies from Heaven, which honestly that was a lot. He did really good at that. Then we see, I don't know, some politician or some governor of Oyster Bay presenting MJF with the key to the city. There was a then deafening "Lower Your Taxes" chant, which never heard anything like that at a wrestling show. I'll tell you that much. He then runs down potential challengers: Sammy Guevara, Darby Allin, and Jungle Boy. He then goes into a story about how he suffered in class from ADD. We then get a big ADD chant going, which might have topped a "Lower Your Taxes" chant. He then says how he told his teacher about his dream of becoming a pro wrestler. And then on the last day of school, he says, those are goals I don't think you can achieve. And then MJF says, "Hey, Teach, look at me now. I'm a world champion." MJF then goes back up the ramp. He wants the band to play him out. Someone with cymbals goes a little bit too early. He pretty much says, "Hey, get on my time. Get ready on my time." Guy puts down the cymbals, reveals Jungle Boy. They brawl for a little bit. And then during this pull-apart brawl, Sammy Guevara comes out. He picks up the AEW World title, lifts it up, thinking, "Oh, I'm going to be the next world champ." Fuck no. And then he gets down to the ring as he's prepared to take on Commander from AAA. This match was a high-speed car crash, and I loved every minute of it, including Commander trying to do his top rope walk dive, and then Sammy Guevara hits him with a super kick, which that was freaking crazy. Later down the line, Commander does his rope jump, which is just a thing of beauty. They get back into the ring. Commander looks to do a springboard to the inside. Guevara with a cutter. 1, 2, 3. Your winner, Sammy Guevara. Post-match, we have a Sammy Guevara interview, pretty much saying, hey, you don't have to like me, you don't even have to, but you have to respect me, because I don't do things like Maxwell Jacob Friedman does, as he politicked his way to the top, but I did it the right way. And then he brings up how when MJF beat him, he had help from Shawn Spears. And how I am going to get to the AEW title by working hard. So, this promo got all the boos in the world from the crowd. It was a pretty impassioned promo. It's really hard to like Sammy Guevara after what he did. So, just going to say that Sammy Guevara is a heck of a wrestler, but I don't think that was the promo for him to do. Next up, we got for the FTW title, we have Hook defending against Ethan Page. Now, Page has his boys, Matt Hardy and Isaiah Cassidy out. And at times it does look like they are going to get involved, but they back off because of Hook. At one point, Ethan Page asked Matt Hardy to get the FTW title. He does. Looks like he's going to hand it to him. Matt Hardy hangs on. And then ultimately smacks Ethan Page with it. And then Hook with the Red Rum submission for the retention. And and that was kind of a nothing match, but honestly, I had fun with it. Next up, we have Nigel McGuinness, another recent signing, introducing GM Tony Khan, who pretty much says, we're going to go to the UK for a show for All In. We're going to bring that back. And Sunday, August 27th, it's going to be All In from London, from Wembley Stadium, which is a 9,000 seat stadium. That is an ambitious move, and that's definitely a big announcement. Personally, as a man in the U.S., I know I'm probably not going to be there for it, but I am happy for my fellow AEW fans are finally getting a show where they don't have to stay up until 8 in the morning to watch. No offense, AEW, I love you. Next up, we have the Black Blue Combat Club in a squash match against a couple local yokels. In which Yuta gets a quick submission. Danielson gets in the ring, cuts a promo, pretty much says, we're the only pro wrestlers in this company, we're the only pro wrestlers in this business, and if you got a problem with it, come on out and prove yourself. Out comes Hangman Page. Hangman is outnumbered, Blackpool Combat Club beat him down. Danielson then produces a screwdriver and just sticks it right into Page's head. Danielson then pretty much says, AEW needs a cleaning, and we are the ones to give it to him. So, this is going to be a fun feud. Ultimately, it's probably going to finish up when the Elite come back. So, that's going to be fun. And next up, in our main event for Dynamite, we have the Guns putting their titles on the line against FTR, who put their AEW careers on the line. So, big stakes match, big main event. And the Guns got some new music. They got Many Men, Many, Many, Many Men by 50 Cent, which that's a banger for me. This match was very, very entertaining. At all points, the Guns were implicitly trying to cheat, including a low ball right in front of the ref, in which Cash Wheeler pretty much says, "No, don't disqualify him. Don't disqualify him. We want this." Colton then tries to slide one of the titles in the ring. This gets caught by the ref. He gets the other title, slides in the ring. Dax goes for a diving headbutt right into the title. Guns then hit 310 to Yuma. And then FTR with a double roll-up to score the pinfall. So your winners and new AEW World Tag Team Champions, FTR, the top guys. That was a lot of fun to watch. I was jumping out of my seat for the finish. And, so far our second two-time AEW Tag Team Champions. The first, the Young Bucks. So, fingers crossed we're getting that match sometime soon. And, that is it for Dynamite. We then go to Impact Wrestling, which was a lot of fun this week. As we start off with the Motor City Machine Guns versus TMDK. And honestly, seeing Bad Dude Tito overpower the Guns was a lot of fun. Haste and Shelley worked really well together. Honestly, there was a lot of great chemistry between these four guys. Ultimately, after a Cradle Shock try and a roll-up victory for the Motor City Machine Guns, we then see backstage that Ace and Bay meet them backstage. And Shelley and Sandman pretty much tell them, look, we're ready for our rematch with you two. So how about at Rebellion, we go Ultimate X, in which that match has been made official. I cannot wait for that one. We then see Kenny King and Eddie Edwards backstage. They go way back, and Eddie wants King in his corner for his match tonight with PCO. King pretty much says, no, I got bigger fish to fry. Maybe you should grab the person who drove the car into PCO. Which all but confirms that it wasn't Kenny King who hit PCO. Tommy Dreamer then backstage tries to recruit Scott D'Amore for his team versus team match at Rebellion against Bully Ray. Scott D'Amore is flattered, but his time in the ring is over, and he has full faith in Dreamer who'll get the right team together. Then, out of commercial, we see Trey Miguel is sitting ringside for Jonathan Gresham versus Mike Bailey, with the winner getting an X Division title shot at Rebellion. I don't care how many times I see this match. This match absolutely rules. A lot of great chemistry, a lot of great counters. At one point, both are on the outside of the ring near the announce table, and they both come this close to hitting Trey Miguel, but they stop each other. Then they get back into the ring. Trey is then on the top rope, hits a crossbody, and hits both of them. So it does look like we are getting a triple threat, which was confirmed will be confirmed later on in the night. So that should be fun. We then see the Design sitting on a staircase with Deaner asking Callahan, look, you've been through all these steps. Next comes step 7. In which Callahan pretty much asks, okay, what is step 7? Alan Angels then pretty much butts in saying, oh, you're not really the Design. This is a betrayal. I can smell it. Then Deaner pretty much hushes him. Deaner then pretty much tells Callahan to take out the Authority, in which Callahan says, okay, what do you mean by that? Deaner tells him, figure it out. Then we see later in the night, Santino Marella has been knocked out backstage. He then talks with Dango and who? I think it's just Dango. No, Dango and Scott D'Amore pretty much says, Dango, it's going to be you, me, and Joe Hendry versus the Design for Rebellion. In which Santino's going to wrestle? Ooh, that's going to be interesting. We then get Jody Threat's Impact debut, and she looks absolutely phenomenal. And then after an M416, which is her finish, Jody Threat picks up the win. Then we get a Tasha Steele interview. She is happy to be back. We then see Giselle Shaw and her crew roll up, pretty much saying, why did you have to poke your nose in our business? You have no business being here. And you're just jealous Evans chose us instead of you. So it looks like we'll be getting Steele versus Shaw at some point. Next up, we got a 6-man tag team match playa as Bully Ray and the Good Hands take on Tommy Dreamer, Yuya Uemura, and hockey legends Darren McCarty, which, that's a big surprise. Definitely a lot of good stuff in this match. A little bit shorter than I thought it would be. McCarty brought out the Fez press, which that was impressive. Bully Ray and Hoek then bow out after seeing the faces. And then after a stunner, your winners, McCarty, Dreamer, and Uemura. Post-match, we have Kenny King coming in, taking out the baby faces, which then gets the heels back in. Kaz then joins in to try to take out Kenny King. Then Masha Slamovich and Killer Kelly start fighting each other, in which it looks like we got our teams for that hardcore match. We then have a Deonna Purrazzo interview, pretty much saying, you know, what a whirlwind year this was. She was once on top, but now she's a blank canvas. And on this canvas, we will paint our new age of the Virtuosa, whether it's just Jordan Grace at Rebellion or Grace and Mickie James. Purrazzo never beat Mickie James, but come Rebellion, she will be champion again. Nice, short and sweet promo. It should be fun. Next up, Fine Alamo. We got Eddie Edwards taking on PCO. And early on, PCO does dominate a little bit. But then Eddie Edwards does get back into it. After a de-animator, which was crazy, PCO goes up to the top rope. Out comes Alicia Edwards, who it looks like she's just begging PCO to not hit the PCO salt on Eddie Edwards. She then gets Kenny, hits PCO with it. Then after a suplex, a Boston Knee Party, your winner, Eddie Edwards. Eddie and Alicia then run up the ramp with PCO following behind. So, that's definitely going to be a fun feud going forward. We'll see what happens with PCO. Does he get help? We'll see. And then the absolute saddest part of Impact, and maybe the wrestling week this week, we have Josh Alexander relinquishing the Impact World title due to injury. He recently had shoulder surgery. He's going to be out for a bit. And here he relinquishes it so that Kushida and Macklin can fight over it. We can then get a promo from Scott D'Amore pretty much saying injuries suck and it's a shame this reign has to go this way. And then Josh Alexander. Oh my god. Like, this is so sad. He pretty much says, I loved that Impact gave me this opportunity years ago after signing my contract, and I felt like I've been on top ever since. He's waited 14 years for this opportunity, and sad that the longest reign in Impact Wrestling World Title history has to end like this. However, I will lay this down for Impact, and next time you see me, I am gunning for whoever's champion. Before he could pass the title to Scott D'Amore, his son Jet comes in, takes the title, looks like he's going to try to run away with it. Josh Alexander pretty much told his son, no, we got to give this up. We'll be back for it, but for now, we got to give it up. So he gives it to Scott D'Amore. Then Macklin pretty much says, alright, hand this title over to me. This was inevitable from the start. As much as I would have liked to be Josh Alexander, it is undeniable that at Rebellion, I'm beating Kushida. Then we got a "You tapped out" chant from the crowd, as Kushida did tap him out at the last show. Then Scott D'Amore piped up and said, oh, Macklin, shut the heck up. Josh had an open challenge for you, ready to go. And you said no at most times. Then 2 weeks ago, Josh wanted to fight you, and you ran like a coward. And Scott D'Amore pretty much says, don't overlook Kushida. He will probably surprise you. And then after Macklin tries to take the title, Kushida goes for the hoverboard lock. He gets out of the ring. And then after a dive, Kushida has the title. It looks like he's going to hold it from himself, but then he gives it to Scott D'Amore to end the show. Like I said, this was a very, very sad way for Josh Alexander's title reign to end. But it's something that had to happen due to the injury. Get well soon, Josh. Can't wait to see what you got in store when you come back. And our final show for the week, as I am, like I said, I am not covering SmackDown or Rampage this week. We got Ring of Honor, in which I was in attendance for at least 2 of these matches. So first up, we got a 6-man tag team match as Shane Taylor teams up with the Workhorsemen and Mark Briscoe teams up with the Lucha Brothers. And honestly, this was a lot of fun to watch. A lot of good back and forth. But ultimately, after a J Driller, in which I think this is the first time Mark has hit that, your winners, Mark Briscoe and the Lucha Brothers. Next up for the Pure title, we have Christopher Daniels taking on Katsuyori Shibata, the defending champion. And this was just pure wrestling goodness. The chemistry between the two, the back and forth, it was great. And then after a sleeper hold into a penalty kick, your winner, still Pure champion, Shibata. We then get a Claudio Castagnoli interview in which he's ready for a worthy challenger. Kingston made a fool of himself post Supercard and pretty much calling him not championship material. And he's ready for a fight for anyone he deems worthy. We then get a singles bout between Darius Martin and Jay Lethal. We got the Kingdom on commentary. Dante Martin is out injured. He injured it at Supercard. Get better soon, Darius. This was a very good back and forth bout. Lethal Injection got countered by the end. Then Matt Taven gets into the ring after a distraction by Sanjay Dutt. Hits a cutter. Hits a super kick. Lethal then hits the Lethal Injection for the win. So it looks like Top Flight is still feuding with the Kingdom, and I gotta say, I'm ready for it. Next up, we got a very interesting and very fun bout, honestly, as Hot Sauce Tracy Williams takes on Daniel Garcia. And honestly, again, this was a very fun, mostly mat-based bout. At one point, Garcia rolls out of the ring, looks like he's going to grab a weapon, and then flips off the crowd, which that was absolutely hilarious. Then after a brainbuster into a face lock in which Tracy Williams gets to the bottom rope. Then a suplex try into a backbreaker for the win for Daniel Garcia. We'll see if he gets another Pure title match in which, honestly, Garcia versus Shibata, sign me up. Next up, we got the last in the trilogy of the Takeshita versus Varsity Athletes bouts as he takes on Tony Nese. This was a high-striking bout. Definitely a lot of good moves in there. At one point, the Varsity Athletes save Nese from a Takeshita attack in which he dives to the outside on all of them. Very good moonsault from Tony Nese for a 2 count. We then get Smart Mark Sterling on the apron. He gets knocked off by Takeshita, who hits a tombstone, who then hits a brainbuster for the win. So Takeshita gets the victory. And find out Mo, our main event of the evening. We have the Ring of Honor women's title on the line. Athena takes on Maya Yamashita of Tokyo Joshi Pro, who has been in America competing for companies taking part in WrestleMania week, although she wasn't on WrestleMania. This bout was absolutely nuts. A lot of high striking, a lot of submissions. We got a big cannonball off the stage at one point. They get back in the ring, roll up try, 1-2. Skull kick, which gets a big old whiff. Athena with the crossface. roll through, which is held in. Maya then fades out. Ref comes by, checks her with the arm lift. Your winner via submission, Athena, who retains her title. Okay, that is it from me for this week in pro wrestling. Now, some updated notes. As you know, Vince McMahon is back in creative, and based on what I've seen on Raw, it was not very good, save for one show-long story. So, to join in with the Fire Vince McMahon movement, from now until hopefully one day Vince gets fired, I will not be covering the WWE. So, no weekly shows, no pay-per-views. I will be passing on WWE from now on. Instead, I will still cover NWA. Maybe I'll do a little USA as a special treat, as a replacement. I'll still cover MLW. I'll still cover AEW, Impact, Ring of Honor. I will still cover those for you. But for Raw and SmackDown, I am out. So, I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. I hope you have a good rest of your week. And happy wrestling, everybody. Peace.